What a lovely man this Bernadotte is, eh, Sherry? Can't wait until we get to meet him. It seems they're not expecting guests.
I won't wait for an invitation, John.
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp.
That's our way in, Sherry.
Hey, yo, this is private property. You lost something.
I'm here to discuss business with Mr. Bernadotte. I tried the front door, but...
Mr. Bernadotte isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotte's best interest to...
1.
I did try to resolve this peacefully.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming.
Too simple.
I'm coming.
Don't bother moving.
The snuff's ready.
Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff.
I couldn't miss the party.
Don't cry, you'll live.
The snuff's ready.
Too simple.
snuff's ready. We can overcome the brute now.
I couldn't miss the party.
Take a rest, my friend. Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Don't cry, you'll live.
The snuff's ready. Sherry, look! This seems familiar.
A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited. An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it. Let's see what's hidden there. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
No, sir. Don't hurt me.
It's all right. I won't harm you.
Like you didn't harm the folks on the way here?
Don't come any closer. One step and I'll shred you to pieces.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Righto. Yes. Yep. Well, excuse me, sir. I think I hear... I've got to... It's better I leave.
Whoa. Oh, wow. That was as if somebody put my words in your mouth.
Please don't shoot me. I have a family. Spare me.
So, you've cut through all the guards just to talk to me. And come here, and we shall talk. Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Bad news. The thug you sent to the refugee camp only succeeded in stabbing himself. His next and final journey will be to the morgue.
Hold your horses. Who the hell are you?
Sherlock Holmes. And you are Niccolo Bernadotti, a smuggler, kidnapper, and notorious cutthroat, among other things.
Few men would dare waltz into my office and address me like that. You are either overconfident or unintelligent. This is private property. Give me one reason why I should not shoot you on the spot. I am sure my friends at the station would call it self-defense.
I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out the situation. So, this painting is why you broke into my office.
Mr. Bernadotti, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest. So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you. How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often disappear. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled wildly, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotte. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point. If I give you the photograph, how do I know you will not come after me?
Mr. Holmes, you are not a threat. The local authorities owe me favors. For all your confidence, you cannot actually harm me. Besides, I like you, and your approach to business. We are not dissimilar. Pragmatists to a fault.
Indeed, I cannot ignore the just outcomes in what you have proposed. All right, take the photograph.
You are a hard man to read, Mr. Holmes. I couldn't tell if you actually had it. Fear not. This decision will bear its fruits soon enough. One more thing, Mr. Holmes. Now that I have the photo, you may as well take Mr. Mercurio's painting back to the gallery. Please, send my apologies.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. One presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio, perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
Yes, it's here.
Splendid! I'm most grateful, Mr. Holmes. It must have been a difficult task. Will you share your adventures with me?
I cannot, Mr. Vogel. The story is much like your undergallery. Not for everyone's eyes and ears.
So sometimes you do hide the truth. What has happened to your crusade?
I'm not on a crusade. I simply do not owe you the story.
It was not an attack, Mr. Holmes. If you've chosen to keep secrets, I'll respect it. Besides, the truth is often more boring than the mystery. No?
It is what it is, Mr. Vogel.
Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh dear, I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained, specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured.